Hey, hello, and how are you, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Leading the Charge, the podcast. I'm Dom Tibbetts, joined as always by my co-host and good friend, brother Bill. Friend of all, friend of many. Bill, for the first time in what feels like maybe a month, we are talking about a Bills win. The vibes are high. It's a victory Monday for Bills Mafia. There's a lot more notes that I have that are positive than negative. 40-9, a 31-point victory, their largest margin of victory of this entire season. How are you feeling on a victory Monday? Brain rot video incoming soon from the Bills. I mean, that's what I look forward to as well. It's just seeing that. But again, how are you feeling on this victory Monday?
Feels good to be back. It's always nice having a victory Monday. It was the first definitive win in a while. Like, we had the Jets, obviously, week 2. But other than that, we've been squeaking them out. We've been losing the last couple of weeks, so hasn't felt great. But feels really good to get back in the win column with, like, a definitive, like, easy-going Sunday. Like, I was just, halfway through the game, you're kind of sit on the couch just smiling, not really stressed at all, just rooting for, like, parlays to hit and fantasy players to do well at that point. I had James Cook, so I was just like keep pounding them. So it was awesome. Great to be back in the win column, and the way we did it was awesome.
You were the real life fan on the couch. You see that video at the end, like under 2 minutes ago, Joe Brady's packing up the bag in the box ready to go. That's just you. You're like, I'm good. Channel's already turned. Mitch Trubisky's got it on cruise control from here. So, yeah, I mean, listen, you and I both were talking about this before we actually started recording this, and I want to bring it up because it's a valid point, right? I know Andy Dalton looked like he forgot how to play football out there. It was a really tough day for him and the Panthers overall because I think the Bills came in, were like, hey, listen, the run defense hasn't been great for us. We'll just see if Andy Dalton can beat us. And if he does, okay, then that is what it is. But they're going to stop Rico Dowdle, stop Chuba Hubbard, make Andy Dalton beat you. And obviously he couldn't. But I also think don't take anything away from that lopsided win because, God forbid, if the Bills win by 3, Bill, we're having a much different conversation about how much worse it could be. So that's what they were supposed to do in that situation, and they did. So I think that's why, at least for me, I'm leaning very much more positively about this podcast than I am negatively.
Oh, yeah. And not only did Andy Dalton not do well for us, against us, maybe he didn't do well for us because we know that he is a Buffalo Bills ally.
Of course.
Through and through.
Yes, no, Andy Dalton forever. He might one day just get like a minor, not like the Ring of Honor, but there might be like a small plaque when you walk into like the section 400s at the new stadium. It's like, this seat's reserved for anybody who just loved Andy Dalton for what he did for the Bills organization over his time in the NFL. All right, big storylines. Let's just start with Bill. Who would have thought if you give James Cook the rock, the Bills offense is going to have success? It's like two guys have been saying this for weeks now on a podcast. 216 yards, 2 touchdowns on just 19 carries. This is the crazy stat, too, that I didn't even mention like yesterday on air or when I was writing our web articles. Bill, he had 11.4 yards a carry. That guy averaged a first down, more than a first down every single time he touched the ball. And I know obviously the big chunk, the 64-yard house call is going to boost that number up a little bit, but what'd you make of that? James Cook fueling this offense.
Dude, he is – I know we've been saying it over and over, like, just give him the ball. Like, he is so good. And I actually didn't know that was his average, but I was just about to say, like, it felt like every time he touched it, it was a first down. Like, he was just getting chunk after chunk, finding little holes where, like – I mean, I think there was one, like, 3-yard gain, nothing spectacular, but, like, it should have been, like, a 4-yard loss. And he just – his vision is amazing. He's quick. He cuts so well. It's just so fun to watch. Like, I'm so glad we paid him. Like, that is looking like an absolute steal. And I think it's like, every game he's had 100 yards or played over 50%, we have won. So, like, that is a direct correlation that, like, just play the dude. Like, I know you don't want to – there's always that risk. But, like, that's if you over touch him. But, like, there's that risk anywhere in football. Like, you could do it in the right. We know that more than anyone. I feel like dudes get injured at practice all the time. So, just – I feel like you can't scheme or play like thinking he might get hurt because that could always happen. It's just you got to do what you got to do to win, and that's the clearest way to win for us right now.
No, for sure. And listen, we'll get to some injury stuff that we'll later on in this episode. But I think it was you, Bill, who said this maybe a podcast episode or two ago was, you wanted to see that increased role for James Cook. I think we all did, right? And I wasn't seeing it. I still saw the Ty Johnson flux into the third downs a little bit more, but I think a lot more this dictated the fact because the Bills were kind of in control, especially after the Greg Rousseau strip of Andy Dalton. Like it felt like things were kind of in control for this team early on. But I said it yesterday in a brief video I did. The whole argument this offseason about when Kyron Williams for the Rams got his deal, and then it was like, oh, how's this going to dictate because of his usage and his money compared to what James Cook is? I'm all for, like, if you have to make James Cook a 70% share running back right now, higher than that, all for it, because my argument is, what else are you going to do on offense? Like the next point we're going to get into, I think, is kind of one of the more negatives I have is like the lack of ability for these receivers to get any sort of separation with Josh Palmer week to week, right? Like James Cook is literally fueling your offense. If you can find different creative ways to keep getting him involved, like Joe Brady did yesterday, you're going to find success. And actually, I go back and think of it, there really wasn't, unless maybe you can refresh my memory, Bill, but it didn't feel like there was anything crazy, like play scheme wise, that James Cook did. He kind of just handled his business. I mean, he got everything he would want on every single time he touched the ball, basically, So if that's your recipe for success, it's like the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why get away from that?
100%. And like, it always feels like, even as good as he did, it always feels like he's like a shoelace away from like breaking one off. Like he's always just so close to a huge one. And he obviously did get the 64-yarder, but like he just finds like the holes. He finds he's just got such good vision. And it's always like, yeah, he's like a shoelace away from a big run almost anytime he touches the ball.
The one that you had mentioned too, I'm going back and I was thinking about it. The one where he should have been tackled for like a 4-yard loss and broke it off for like 3 yards around. Like that's just simply like James Cook keeping a play alive. He found it. He got to the sideline, I think it was, and just, picked up a small little game, but that obviously set them up for a couple plays later. They go down and score on the very same drive. Like that kind of stuff is so invaluable. And again, with the Bills offense that has been a little bit inconsistent, that is something I think this team has to continually lean on. How in the early part of the game, you were starting to see, like the first drive of the game, I'm sure was infuriating for everybody, because it was for me a little bit too. It's like watching James Cook basically do all the work. It's like when you're doing a school project and you have the nerd of your class doing all of it. And then when the presentation comes, the high school athlete, the quarterback that is a failing student just does the presentation and gets 100 for it. Like that's what that first drive for the Bills felt like, was just watching James Cook put all the work in and then them go, okay, you're done. We're going to shift on, and then we're going to end up having to just kick a field goal because our receivers can't get any separation and there's no offensive flow when you take James Cook off the field. I don't know how, like, it's a good thing that we're talking about this, Bill, but moving forward, it's a slight concern that like James Cook's offensive production has so much sway on how this offense just does in general. That's my only big concern about not even just James Cook, but about this offense is like, if he isn't cooking, no pun intended, what does this offense have? Because again, like getting into it, the separation problem. You ever see like the dots on Twitter or social media, and like the one where Josh took that sack, his second of the day on the scramble? I was watching the dot diagram. Nobody's open. They doubled Kincaid. Kincaid's kind of one of those guys that can consistently get open for Josh when he's scrambling. Kincaid was doubled. Shakir came back on a route that he just had no chance of Josh seeing that. Nothing from Tyrell Shavers. Elijah Moore was too deep in the end zone. I am a little bit concerned there with the wide receivers, because we are still having the same conversation of nobody's getting open for Josh.
Yeah, it feels so just stuck. Like you said, the offense is very much determined on James Cook right now. And I think I had a conversation on Twitter where I tweeted like, James Cook is your best. Like, I'm so over, like, I think it was one of the times where they were just taking him out because it was third down and they just don't want to play him on third downs, which is, I don't know. I get it in some capacity, but like, he is your best player and he's the reason we're doing anything. So
right.
I don't think it totally, I understand like the game plan idea, but in the flow of the game, sometimes you have to get away from that. And I was kind of tweeting my frustration about that. And I said, he's your best player. And someone was like, he is not our best player. And I'm like, dude, to be honest, this year, yes, he is. Like, he is. And it's not like me coming down on Josh. Josh is the MVP. He is the best player. We all know it. But like this year alone, if we're going off anything, like it is James Cook. And it's not all on Josh Allen. I think that is a testament to like what we were just talking about. It just doesn't seem like players are getting open. It doesn't seem like he trusts the receivers right now either. Maybe when they do get a little bit of separation or do get open, he's not like just ripping it like he used to. Shakir is great. Like I think he needs to force the ball a little more maybe, because he's the one dude that I do think can get separation and knows where to like sit in a play to stay open, and kind of has become that safety blanket. But it feels like all we have right now is a safety blanket and James Cook.
Yeah, and I go back to, and you made a good point about the trust, because this is what I'm thinking when it comes to that, is the Elijah Moore play, where I think it was in the second quarter. Moore is wide open on just like a crossing pattern, probably 20 yards down the field. Josh sees him and completely misses him. Like a throw that you just don't see Josh Allen miss all that often. That to me is not, I think of that more as the lack of chemistry and the trust in wide receivers, and it is Josh Allen just having a bad throw. It was, but I put that way more on just the fact that Josh has no idea where and when his receivers are going to be open. He has nobody reliable aside from Khalil Shakir. And that's going to, I think, bleed into some issues where you're going to see this lack of consistency from Josh Allen if he doesn't feel like he knows where his guys are going to be, where he can trust them to be in the field, and if he can trust them to go and make a play here too. Like Keon Coleman, 3 receptions, 30 yards, a pretty quiet day from him. Shakir had 6 for 88, and of course that huge touchdown. And then I can tell you right now, Jackson Hawes was the next leading receiver in terms of just total receptions with 2. So that was it. Dalton Kincaid with 1, Dawson Knox with 1, and Elijah Moore, I think, had 1 in there too. So it's concerning in this offense to not get this passing game going, because it's also frustrating. Think of like how good this team would be. They put up 40 points yesterday. I know a lot of that had to do with the defense flipping the field. The passing game and the run offense just like intermingled like it used to in this beautiful harmony. We'd be having much different conversations, much different debates on how this team can continually get better. But it's definitely an area of concern. And I go back to the offensive line a little bit. Like, let's give them some credit too for James Cook's big day. The offensive line, obviously a big part in that, because they've got a block to create holes. I think overall in the trenches, the Bills had a very good day on both sides of it. I don't put Josh's 2 sacks yesterday as much on the offensive line, especially that second one where he's scrambling. That is solely on the receivers just not getting open, because that's where that dot diagram came in, right? So
yeah, it was 11 seconds.
Yeah.
And like you were watching the dots, and it's like, we talked about this after the Patriots game, where like with Stephon Diggs, he is that kind of safety blanket who can ad lib and get open and make things easy for Drake May. And he was that with us. And like, dude, I'm watching the dots and they're like going further and further. And I'm like, he's in trouble. Like you're supposed to try to make life easier for him right now and just try to get open, try to come back to the ball. I don't get it.
Wasn't there.
That diagram was crazy to watch. And it was 11 seconds of evading people.
And like credit to that's not on the offensive line to have to run to the other side of the sideline and try to put up a block, right? There's only so much they can do there too. That sack solely came to me on the lack of separation from the receivers. The one earlier, I'd have to go back and I'm trying to think of how that all unfolded too. Because you look at the stat that I take away from it is that Josh has now taken 14 sacks this season. He took 14 all of last year. So he's already matched that point. It's obviously not a mark you want to strive for, but I go back and I was looking at some of them, and I think you could probably chalk at least half or more than half of the sacks Josh has took to just him trying to evade pressure, looking downfield and finding not a soul open. It's like Chick-fil-A on a Sunday, Bill. That's what the Bills receivers are. They're not open. There's nothing for Josh. So that is something that has to get fixed. I mean, and you want to talk about a tough test. The Chiefs aren't going to let you do what the Panthers just did. That's who they have Sunday, right? Like, that's something that has to get fixed, or you have to see some sort of growth. But that's a tough opponent to have to go and try to see that growth and test from when you have Kansas City on Sunday. Is there anything else in there before we kind of segue into the next topic?
I think I know, like, even harping on the receivers, and in that same diagram, I saw somebody point out, like, what are these routes they're running? So there's enough blame to go around. Like I don't think we're thrilled with the way Joe Brady's maybe planning things either, and maybe it's not making it easy for the receivers or taking advantage of what they're good at too. So I think there's just a lot of fixing that needs to be done and like soul searching with this offense.
For sure. And a week to get that figured out before a really tough opponent when Kansas City comes into town, 4:25. That's on Sunday. However, we've also been very critical over the past few podcasts we've had, Bill, about this defense. And again, it goes back to the point we said, I know it was Andy Dalton, but you did what you needed to do against a very inferior opponent and an inferior quarterback. 7 sacks, 3 takeaways. The defense answered a lot of criticism, I thought, in my opinion, and played obviously their best game of the season. They dominated up front in the trenches. There's a lot of things to get to, but I would be remiss, Bill, if I didn't start with the fact that one of those 7 sacks was from the man, the myth, the legend, Big Phil. Get him, pump him up, get him up.
Dude, it's so funny whenever a Big Phil thing happens. My timeline blows up. It's everyone tweeting at me. I think I tweeted that a Big Phil sack is the equivalent of taking a whiff of a smelling salt for me.
That was so good.
And it's true. It's just like such a jolt of energy, and everyone gets fired up, and he knows how to fire people. Like, dude, in the waist. I think Jenna Cottrell posted it.
That's what I'm literally trying to find that tweet right now.
When he's just like firing up the whole crowd at an away game. It's just so classic. Like, he's the best.
I'm going to turn it down. This is great podcasting. So if you're tuning in on video, you're going to see this. If not, just know I'm showing Jenna Cottrell's video of Big Phil pumping up the crowd. But yeah, like in Carolina too. Gets the people going. It's provocative. It gets the people going.
He is. He's the best. And then he posted his after game post had the I Feel Like Big Phil song on it, which was fire.
Absolutely. That's so money. So yeah, no, obviously, so Big Phil, one of the sacks there too. I'm going to go back to the actual box score here to look at the total sacks numbers of who got them. But yeah, obviously Ed Oliver gets one early, which we'll get into in a second because his injury is a big deal there too. AJ Epinesa and Greg Rousseau, I thought they had great games, big from them. Michael Hoyt, that's a guy we're going to talk about because his just influx into this defense was outstanding from a guy who hasn't played, a real regular season game for the Bills all season long. He had 1.5 sacks. Deion Walker with a 0.5 sacks. Obviously, Big Phil with a sack in there too. So yeah, defensive pressure was just right where it needed to be. All the things that we've talked about from like this off season of like, hey, you got to go win up front. You got to win in the trenches. Well, the Bills went out and did that. If they can somewhat replicate that, and I know it's going to be difficult with the looming question at defensive tackle, they replicate that against Kansas City. I mean, that's the recipe that Kansas City lost to in the Super Bowl, right? So that is I'm hopeful that will continue, that they'll find some sort of combination there that works. So new guys coming in. I have Michael Hoyt had 66% snap count, Ogunjobi 48, Max Harrison 44. I'll just start with Harrison real quick because there's not really any big takeaways. From what I saw, I am impressed because that's a guy who has not seen any game action all year. First game in. Didn't know even if he would play, honestly, in this. I thought they would maybe keep him out for one more and then kind of put him in a little bit in Kansas City. But they said, hey, let's roll him out here. And against that opponent, he looks fast. He looked good. The parameters, everything that if it keeps trending in that direction, Bill, you've got to be ecstatic that kind of cornerback is going to be probably inevitably taking the starter reps away from Trey White.
Yes. And it was nice just to see like the speed. I feel like that's like the biggest thing our secondary has lacked this year is speed, and he is fast. He has good closing speed. I saw a few reps where he's just like, I feel like he had one notable play, and did he have a pass deflection?
He had a tackle. He had a really
that's
solid.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. That's what it was. Because you don't really expect that from him either, honestly. From like the things I have read or seen is like he's small, obviously he's more quick, but that was a really good like tackle.
And listen, tackling has not been the secondary strong suit all season, so it is wise to point it out when it does happen for that.
Yes, that's very true. And even just having a cornerback who's like willing to tackle, that's always like sometimes you see people shot like not to beat on a dead horse, but Taylor Rapp has definitely looked like he's shied away from, which is weird because I feel like that's what he was kind of known for. But I've seen plays where he's just like kind of just like getting blocked willingly, it feels like. So it was nice to see that, and nice to see a dude with speed. And yeah, like we weren't, a couple weeks ago, some of the talk was like, oh, he won't even play this year. So nice to get him back and see him perform.
Yeah, and I think it goes to like Cole Bishop, I think has been like very like I'm trying to think of like the right analogy. I think it's been a very steady progression. It's not anything sharp, but it's kind of like a little blue chip stock that you just know. You're like, hey, my return on investment is going to be okay. I think he's been kind of showing up in the tackling game a little bit better there too. Let's just stick with the new guys in there too. So Ogunjobi, I mean, 3 tackles. I didn't really see anything that stood out to me, but when you talk about the defensive line depth with the injury to Ed Oliver, I mean, you have Larry Ogunjobi and Deion Walker. That is your only 2 healthy, active roster signed right now defensive tackles. So his role is only going to get more important. Michael Hoyt, though, Bill, I mean, that was we've been saying it, and boy, was I pleasantly surprised beyond my expectation about Michael Hoyt there too. It's just energy, little influx into this defense that brought a lot of pressure, put Andy Dalton in some quick throws, some tight pressure situations. I think the Bills might have something there because he's versatile too. He can go interior, he can go on the outside and play the end. He can also come back and play small, like light coverage as a linebacker. They might have hit on something with Mr. Hoyt there.
I agree. And like, hand up a little bit. Like I've been saying the last few weeks, like these guys we're getting back aren't world beaters. And like, I don't know if it's going to make the change, but like his energy was contagious and he looked awesome. He was fast. He was flying around. He's kind of just like the classic psycho dude you kind of need on your defensive line. That's the vibe I get. So really excited to see him do that. And what he like, maybe not per se, he's like a game-breaking talent, but I think he opens up a lot of opportunity to everybody else with what he does, like, and yesterday, like he was getting to the quarterback, he was doing it all. But I think even just having a dude like that out there makes other dudes' life easier and gets them more opportunities. Cause you gotta like think about that guy who's just going, 100% every time, trying to break down a brick wall, basically.
Yeah, and just the athleticism just popped off the tape for me too, and just again that versatility. I know the defensive tackle. I've said it a couple times now. That's going to be a looming, concern just to how health wise that group goes about it. But again, Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa had really good. I mean, that AJ Epinesa interception, real quick. Let's talk about that for a second. That guy kicked the ball to himself. Like if you go back, watch the replay, he comes up with a deflection, ball goes to his foot. Epinesa kicks it up to himself and I don't know if it was Tate McMillan that came up and got him or whatever, but he was a yard away from a pick six, like incredible athleticism. I compared it to, remember a couple seasons ago against the Commanders, he had that pick six as well.
Yes.
I think Sam Howell was the quarterback for them. Very like remnant of that kind of display from Epinesa. Joey Bosa I think he was in there with a couple pressures. So again, Joey Bosa's big role, just have him in December and January when it really matters the most. But you get the 4 of them and you put Hoyt into that group just as a primary defensive end guy. You're feeling pretty good there if you're the Bills, I feel like. So again, not trying to put the cart before the horse on Michael Hoyt, because I think for him, it's going to be consistency, right? Like, how does he look against Kansas City next week? How does he look when they host Miami in 2 weeks and then Houston on the road? Like, it'll be a consistency thing for guys like him and Ogunjobi and Hairston. But so far, I was very happy, as I was, Bill, with Jordan Hancock. Going back to our safety conversation, the Poyer-Hancock thing, listen, Jordan Poyer, low ceiling, high floor. Midpoint, you know what you're getting with him. Jordan Hancock, still a rookie, still learning the game. McDermott leaned on him a little bit more. I think you're probably going to see Jordan Hancock get a little bit more snap count coming up in these upcoming weeks here, because I think that combination just kind of works. Like, it's not big splash play, but you feel, I don't know, do you feel comfortable having that tandem back there?
I definitely feel way more comfortable with those two. I think like Poyer is just like your classic, knows where you're supposed to be. He'll be there. He might be a step slower, not as athletic, but like he does know the defense like the back of his hand, and he's kind of like a safety blanket. Like, and I think you use him probably in those opportunities where like they're probably gonna run or something like that, and he's almost like more of like the linebacker safety. And then you have Hancock, who's more athletic, faster.
Yeah, he was in more passing downs.
Yeah,
Yep.
so like it's kind of like a good mix. And there's even that one, I don't know if it was Dowdle maybe, who had like a opportunity to break one off, and he made a really good like play on it and kind of saved, still a big play, but saved it from being kind of the big touchdown plays that we've been letting up against good running backs this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just a testament to like his athleticism and also like not taking the worst route imaginable, which we've seen a lot out of our safeties. So yeah, that was exciting to watch. I kind of like that tandem, and I think they do kind of play off each other pretty well, to switch in and out for different what the offense is showing, kind of like basing it off that.
Yeah, if you're getting that rotation basis, so you have Cole, right, and then you're getting the rotation between Jordan and the two Jordans, Poyer and Hancock. If they can kind of fine tune that combination where you said like you have Hancock in on passing downs, uses athleticism, his speed, his youth. Poyer just simply in there because he knows this defense like the back of his hand, in there kind of as almost playing down and into the box and trying to stop the run from breaking off like we've seen. I think that could work for the Bills defense, and I'm excited to see how that kind of manifests itself too, because inevitably at one point, Jordan Hancock is going to have to be the guy they're going to have to throw into that situation the same way that they did with Cole when he came back from injury last year. So like, if this is the way you kind of slowly get him up to speed, I think that sets him up for a lot more success than just throwing him into the fire and he's your 90% snap count safety along with Cole Bishop. You brought up the tackle he had on Rico Dowdle. That's a great play, Bill, to bring up, because not only did that save a touchdown, it absolutely did. 2 plays later, that's when Rousseau got behind Andy Dalton, stripped it away, and kept points off the board. So Jordan Hancock not only saved 6, but 2 plays later, the defense complements that and goes and takes the ball away. The Bills defense, I know we always say can't rely on their ability to take the ball away, but when you have some of the questions, the injuries, the looming uncertainties with that side of the ball, sometimes, yeah, maybe you are going to need to force more takeaways because that recipe worked for them last year. So if that's the kind of things that lead to that, I think you 100% take that. Now, bad news about the defense, Bill. Ed Oliver, that injury doesn't look good. Very Matt Milano-ish, bicep. It's not appearing. The rate, I always base it off of how quickly the Bills PR tweets out that a guy is out. I think he was declared out before halftime. I had to go back and check the timestamp on the tweet. That's not good. I mean, he obviously already had a couple games missed with that ankle injury. Bicep could be, the rumors I've seen from a couple people, it's at least, it's a couple month-long recovery process. I could take them into the playoffs at this point. This defense is so much better with Ed. I mean, what's your panic meter on a scale from like 1 to 10? If Ed Oliver is out for, let's just say, the rest of the regular season at least, what's your overall panic meter about the Bills defense?
Definitely a huge blow. Probably at like a 7. I think you can like get by, and if I find out like if we are able to like know he's coming back for the playoffs, or maybe even like a week before to get like ramp him up a little, hopefully, like then I feel not, that might make it a little easier, because it's like, okay, at least he'll be back for when we need him the most, even though he'll probably be a little rusty, all that. But yeah, it sucks. It's like we finally get these dudes back that we've been waiting on, and like having those reinforcements coming, and then you lose like your captain basically of the defensive line. And yeah, you can see the difference. Like he's already missed games this year, and you see the difference when he's on the field and when he's not. There was at one point, I think it was at the very end of the game, when Mitch came in and Josh was kind of on the sideline, the cameras were on him, and Ed came up to him, gave him like a tap on the back, and you just saw Josh turn to him and just say like, Ed, and they started like hugging. Did you catch that at all?
I actually no, but I know because so many people were talking about it. Yeah. I have not
felt like
seen
I was watching like a heartfelt buddy movie or something.
No.
Saying goodbye to each other. It was so sad. It sucks. Like it was such an exciting game for the defense, and everything looked good. And then there's just that dark cloud looming, and hopefully it's not as bad. Hopefully we do get him back. Like getting him back in any capacity is probably a win. So
for sure.
That's what we're wishing for.
Yeah, I want to find that video because kept hearing about it, and it's so funny you brought that up. I was like, yeah, wait, no, I know this happened, and I just have not looked at this actual video yet. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Bills defense is they were hurting without Ed. Like not having Ed Oliver for the Patriots game was really tough for this team, and it's going to be very tough for them moving forward without Ed Oliver, because like I've already said, they have Larry Ogunjobi and Deion Walker. They're only two healthy, active defensive tackles right now. So they're probably bringing somebody up from the practice squad, Bill. My instinct says they're going to sign Zion Logue over Big Phil, not to be down on you. I hope I'm wrong for the sake of this podcast. Believe me, brother, I want Big Phil up, but I'm just also trying to look at this with as much not Big Phil bias as I can here. Regardless, if it is Zion Logue or Big Phil, like that's still very big shoes to fill, and you're asking somebody to come in and try to not even match Ed Oliver's production, but you're going to have to assume to get at least a quarter of that production out there too. It brings me to my next point, Bill, is, we haven't done an episode, because we didn't have one during the bye week, and we haven't done one since the Atlanta loss. We are now looming in on the trade deadline, which is not tomorrow, but a week from Tuesday, November 4th. I think prior to the Ed injury yesterday, I think you and I probably could have been in agreement that the Bills' biggest trade target should be a wide receiver. I've been beating the Chris Olave trade. I've been the conductor of the Chris Olave to Buffalo train. I feel like now, if you're Brandon Beane, what do you think? Are you still leaning wide receiver, or do you all of a sudden prioritize a defensive tackle? How do you go about in terms of what the Bills truly do need?
I do believe I personally still would probably lean receiver. Honestly, I think you need to give Josh more help, and I think that's your key to if you are going to compete in the playoffs and try to make a Super Bowl, it's going to be mostly because of Josh. Josh is that guy, and I know defense has kind of let him down before, and we've had that, but I do feel like that's most important, and I do think you have a Big Phil in the Big Phil, my guy. He's there. You have dudes who know the system that can be serviceable. You have dudes coming back now. Hopefully Daquan Jones, who, he hasn't been what he used to be, but even that is he should be back healthy, I think, soon. And sometimes, dude, there's the Eagles have done it. There's been examples of D tackles who are kind of older who just don't sign a contract till midway through a season purposefully almost. I feel like.
I think Mason Graham, is that, or no? Who is that? The Eagles just did that with Brandon Graham.
But they've done it with that year they won the Super Bowl, I believe, or maybe lost in the Super Bowl. It was Ndamukong Suh came, and the dude Linval Joseph, they signed both of those dudes off the street, and they were good. They were good, for them. So
the Bills have brought Quentin Jefferson back for a second stint too. We've seen them do that.
They're not the best, but I do think that they're serviceable, good players that maybe just didn't sign because they are old and they want to be healthy. I'm sure I haven't looked into it totally, so I don't know who's really out there, but I'd have to look more into that, I guess, before I make that point. But who knows? Maybe there's something like that probably doesn't exist in the receiver realm as much as the D tackle realm.
No, I tend to agree, and I think you bring up a lot of good points too. Is that right now, Ed is great. Ed is a great defensive tackle, but it's also you're not getting I think the void of terms of your need for the Bills right now, I think the void for a true wide receiver one that's a separator that can extend this offense and let them do a lot more things creatively is a lot more of a necessity for the Bills right now than it is to find a premier defensive tackle that can suit up and do, as close to what Ed Oliver can do on a game-to-game basis, excuse me. I think they have some pieces there. I liked some of the veteran moves that they've done in the past. I brought up Quentin Jefferson, and Linval Joseph has been a Bill too, right? They've done those things in the past, to your point. So I agree with the fact that I'm still leaning team wide receiver, but it's probably a position that Brandon Beane is going to have to address in that way, because I feel like if you're going to use your limited cap space, draft stock, or probably sending somebody to another team, whether it's the Saints to go get a Chris Olave or a Rashid Shaheed or any other wide receiver to make that happen. That's more likely of a bigger splash move I think Beane makes than going to get somebody in the defensive tackle room. Because let's also face it too, it's not, like we said, it's not the first time this team has done it before. They've gotten, I would say, like weed through the storm a little bit, going and getting some of these older veteran pieces there too. And you bring somebody in, I don't know, like who's been in the system before, like they've done. You have a little bit more insurance there than bringing in somebody totally new who has no idea what the system is or how Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbitt run their defense. So I'm with you there. I'm still team wide receiver, but I would be shocked if there isn't a defensive tackle signing at some point by either the trade deadline or even after, bringing in a veteran or doing something. Like, I believe there will be some move. I just don't think it'll be as substantial as they should be going for wide receiver. All right. 40-9, the Buffalo Bills take care of business against the Carolina Panthers. They are back in the win column. Bill, quick thoughts on Kansas City before we kind of bounce to our last two topics here?
They definitely look like they're back. Like they look
so back.
Really, yeah,
they look so
really
back.
Good. Rishi Rice is back. He's really good. This is like those two losses before the bye. Like this is what really hurts you. Is like you had that chance to really get a head start and like put yourself in a really, really good position. And kind of sucks because like we didn't do that, and now are we behind the Patriots still? Probably, yeah, by like half a game. I think they won that.
Yeah,
so
they have that head-to-head on us. Yeah.
And it's funny because we put so much stock in like, oh, the Chiefs have lost, and kind of didn't pay respect to the Colts, but like the Colts look actually like they are going to keep it up. I think they're really good. So I mean, maybe it didn't matter. Maybe like the Colts are the team you're chasing and not the Chiefs this year, but the Chiefs look really good. We're going into that week. Maybe crazy, but maybe we do like a ritual, sacrifice the regular season game for the playoff
and flip
the
narrative.
Yeah. We always are doing it the wrong way. I think it's time what is it? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah. Maybe
it's time to just like sacrifice a game for the greater good.
It's funny because I kind of had the same thought. I'm like, what happens because if you had to ask me, it's like the make the split decision right now. I want to see how the Chiefs do against the Commanders tonight on Monday Night Football, but I'm very nervous about this Bills team with still some of those unsureties on both sides of the ball going up against a Kansas City team who is really starting to figure it out. It's going to be a big test for the corners against Xavier Worthy, against Rashee Rice. I think it's good that Maxwell Harrison's suiting back up because when you're going against speed guys, especially like Xavier Worthy, you're going to want a speed match. If this was like Trey White and Benford going up against them, which I know it's still going to be, that's a little bit concerning there too. I don't fear Isaiah Pacheco as much as I thought I would in the ground game. So I don't know if the strategy for the Bills is, just stop the pass and just see if Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt can beat you on the ground. Not sure how they'll approach that. But yeah, maybe this is the time where the Bills lose the regular season and go win in the playoffs. But it'll be their luck, Bill, that this year they won't, and then they'll run into the Colts in the AFC Championship game or something like that, and we're in Indianapolis or something like that. So who knows? But yeah, it's going to be I'm not ready to give a prediction, but it'll definitely be one of those games where you really wish the Bills hadn't lost two straight to the Falcons and Patriots to support your point there too. All right, moving on. Final two things. Recap of the video, Bill. Another solid, great Carolina. Listen, you don't do a lot of Carolina ones, so I was very curious to see, like, okay, he's going into a nuance here. Have you ever done a Panthers video before? Because I don't think they haven't played, because you don't do preseason. That was the last time that I can recall them playing.
We played Christmas week 4 years ago, maybe, when Cam Newton just came back, I think. Because I did a Christmas themed one where I kind of did like the Grinch Stole Christmas, where I broke into like a Panthers house and replaced all their ornaments with like Bills ornaments and punted a Krispy Kreme donut back then too. I can't remember what else I did, but I remember like climbing on a roof, and it was like actually really dangerous because it was like icy and I didn't realize how like a real roof is. And I was in like a Santa garb.
Bill's going to get OSHA involved in his videos now every time he goes and records. So no. All right. Explain the backstory. So you went back to the Krispy Kreme right there too,
yeah.
which I had figured was a North Carolina based brand. So there we go. You went with that. And also I loved the red Solo cup, which some people maybe didn't get at first. It appeared when I was looking on social media, but the red Solo cup and the Bryce Young thing I thought was great. So give us a little breakdown of how that video came to be.
Yeah, so the viral video of like Bryce Young, I think it was like week 1 or 2, and like the team's in a huddle, like during a TV timeout, trying to like, I don't know, do what football teams do. And he's like off by his own, just like staring at the Jumbotron, watching like that classic like cup game where there's like a ball underneath one of the cups and it spins.
Yeah.
You have to guess which cup ends with it. So that whole thing was just like a take on that. And yeah, we actually took, dude, and it looked amazing. It was like garbage bins, and we just sprayed the top with like white, what's that called?
Spray paint.
Yeah. And then sprayed the rest red, and it looked exactly like a solo cup. We like carved out the bottom and just got into it. And it sucked because Bryce Young obviously gets injured last week. I've had this idea made up, and I really didn't have anything to pivot to. So we went with the whole like Andy Dalton was one of the prizes in the cup, and the Andy Dalton guy kicks him in the ankle because Bryce Young hurt his ankle. So that was kind of like the joke there. But yeah, of course, my mom helped with the cup. She's the prop master, so we did that together. And then Pepsi, which is like, if you know me, you know I love Pepsi. Pepsi is a Carolina-based beverage, so that was that whole point that I steals Pepsi, and I couldn't get myself to I took it and drank it and sipped it, and that was the joke. But I can't do anything bad to my Pepsi. I love Pepsi.
No, I would never expect to see you kick a Pepsi there too. The one thing I said to you, which is so like, I said this to Bill before we started recording, which it gets me every time when he gets like his buddies and his actors to come in and do these, is he just always has somebody who looks like the main character for the other team. Like your Patriots guy, like just looks like your cousin from Boston. You have your buddy legitimately look like Bryce Young. Like it was just, I was like, you found the doppelganger, the stunt double for Bryce Young. He might have actually been better than Andy Dalton in the game there too. Like,
I would have.
Do you ever get surprised at just like when you're watching back on the final version, you're like, oh my God, like my guys just look like every NFL villain that the Bills are going up against.
It does work out well. And it's like, I have a job where like I have so many clients and people I know. So I have a huge pool that I can kind of pull from. So he's like a longtime friend and client of mine that I hit up. And it just worked out perfect because he does look like Bryce Young. And obviously my one friend who looks like is uncanny to Mike McDaniel. So that's just like the ultimate cheat code. And then I did punt a drum. That was tough. Didn't get too much length on it, but it was more of just the effort I put in.
You did beat it with the hammer before too, so that's I think, I'm not a physics guy, but I think that takes the aerodynamics out of it. That's probably gonna reduce the kick flight if you break the cylindrical spear of the drum.
Yeah, and then the end scene was the pinto round because Carolina barbecue is popular and it's based in like it's like Carolina Gold and it's mustard based. So it was like I had barbecue sauce. I was going to put the mustard in it, and then I stopped myself, and I'm like, no, this is gross. Pinto Ron is where this mustard belongs, right on his face.
Which was a beautiful ode, beautiful end there too. So yeah, that was the only thing when I was watching, I was like, oh, I didn't realize Krispy Kreme was a North Carolina brand. It makes sense that it's the South because when I used to live down in Florida, there was a Krispy Kreme on every corner. It's basically Krispy Kreme down south is what Tim Hortons is to Western New York in a sense. So no, well done, Bill. Very funny per usual again. And you did something on the bye week too. So when people say, "Oh, Brother Bill takes bye weeks off," no, he doesn't, folks. Hardest working content creator this side of the Mississippi. I promise you that. Buddy, I got a fun idea to end this on. So this will be our last episode before Halloween here. You and I are big candy lovers. So I think it's time that we do a Halloween candy draft for the people here. And now the rules and parameters for those listening at home, this is going to be things that you would get on Halloween, like a Halloween candy, nothing like, and there's a lot of things, but let's just say I use the example before we were recording. I love Cadbury eggs. I have never in my 29 years of life, and I'm not saying I've trick-or-treated all 29 years, but when I was in my prime of trick-or-treating, I have never received a Cadbury egg in the bucket for me. So we'll try to be more centered towards Halloween here. But Brother Bill, since you are my valued co-host here on this, and just honestly because you put together a really nice video, I'll give you first pick, and we'll go snake draft style. So 1, 2. Actually, you know what? Let's just go back and forth. I don't even care. You go one, I'll go one, and then we'll just go back and forth. And
No, let's do Snick. I like Snick. I think
you want?
wait, no, because then it will go. I see what you're saying, because it's gonna be longer if we go back and
Yeah,
forth.
it's just gonna.
Okay.
That's why I was like doing the math in my head. I was like dividing by pi, did the square root of it. I was like, I'm all set with this. So go ahead. I'll write them down here, and then we'll post this. Oh, go ahead.
Is it Mount Rushmore like 4? Like we end with your top 4 candies?
Yeah, let's do 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore Halloween candy. And then we will put this on social media. You guys go ahead and vote. And I don't know, we'll just do this for fun. Go out and vote. Social media, be a nice little poll to get the people going here on their Victory Monday. Bill, go ahead. Your first pick when you're ready.
Okay. I'm not that I hate chocolate, but I am definitely a gummy guy, specifically sour gummies. So my number 1 is Sour Patch Kids. Absolutely live for like the Sour Patch Kids. I have a whole system too. I only like yellow. So when they added blue, it really screwed up things for me because I always had a color scheme system, and it was yellow and green together, red and orange together. And I could only eat, like, if I had left like a yellow and a red, I could do that. But if I had just like a red solo, I just couldn't do it. So they added blue in. I had to switch up my system. So now blue is acceptable with everything but green to me in my head. But
okay,
that's the way I do my Sour Patch Kids. It's the very color schemed.
All right, that I got a little nervous when you said gummy because I was like, did he just take my favorite Halloween candy? It's arguably my favorite candy ever. It's Swedish Fish.
Okay, very old school of you, but they're an oldie but a goodie for sure.
They are an oldie but a goodie, and maybe that's an outlandish first pick, but I will take Swedish Fish because they just I don't know, it's just consistent always. And like my favorite flavor of Sour Patch Kid is red because it's the same thing essentially. So I'll go Swedish Fish number 1. Bill, go ahead and do your second pick.
Okay, I'm gonna go with, and this is like not, I feel like it's a little more rare, but when you get it, you're like, I feel like everybody, it's universal, fired up. Cookies and cream Hershey bar. Like the little, usually the little ones, but like, yeah, you just get a nice little brick of the cookie and cream Hershey bar. Put it in the fridge, let it chill a little bit. Delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. I get a bunch. So my buddy he's a packaging engineer for Hershey. And I went to his wedding this summer. And they had, I want to say the candy that they had, because it might be one of our picks. But at his house, we went the day after just to hang out after the wedding, and he had a bunch of candy like he always does. And he had there's cookies and cream Hershey bars, and we made milkshakes with them. Ooh. Like cookie. Oh, they're so good. That's a great pick because I love like cookies and cream ice cream is my favorite. Like if we did the summertime draft of ice cream, cookies and cream ice cream is top tier for me. So great pick, Bill. I like that. Number 2, I'm going to go Snickers. Going back to the chocolate poll, I love a good Snickers bar. So I'm going to take Snickers there. Bite size, full size, half size, no matter what it is. I like Snickers. So that'll be my number 2. Your third, Bill.
Okay. I'm going to go. I said I wasn't a big chocolate guy. Not a big chocolate guy, but I said that I was more gummy, but I feel like I got to go with this one because it's top tier. I'm going to go Twix.
Twix. Yeah. Twix. Yeah, that was good.
Really
that was good. That might have gotten it. Are you a right or a left Twix guy?
I don't discriminate. I'll take either.
That's a good answer. I don't know how that became a discussion. It was like one of those things where I truly started to almost believe that like one side of the Twix tasted better than the other. So, all right, Twix is off the board. That's a good one. Number 4 for me, or number 3. I'm sorry, Fish Snickers. I'm gonna go. Because this is pure Halloween, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Pumpkin.
Yeah, that's really good.
The Reese's Pumpkin was that is always with the shapes, right? You have the Christmas trees around Christmas, the pumpkins in Halloween, the bunnies in Easter. But Reese's, listen, they know how to make their shapes. They stick to what they do, and it's consistent every time. Peanut butter chocolate's one of the best combos out there. So that's my third. Your last pick on the Mount Rushmore, Bill.
Okay, this one's tough because I have a few I really like. But when I'm thinking Halloween, this one really brings me back, really makes me feel like how I felt when I'd pour my pillow sack out and you saw the boxes and the things. I'm gonna go with Dots.
Oh, Dots.
Just the classic Dots little box in there. Get stuck to your teeth. That part's a little
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's nothing like it. I'm a gummy guy. I love the fruit. I was gonna go Mike. Oh, I shouldn't say this because like you might pick one, but yeah,
We're about to say Mike and Ike's.
I was torn between Mike and Ike's and Dots.
Brother Bill, I promise you, was not going to pick Mike and Ike, so that's
A lot
okay.
And that's why I didn't say it. I get a lot of hate. I love Mike and Ike's. My wife rags on me. A lot of my friends, they all hate Mike and Ike's. I am a huge Mike and Ike guy. But I do feel like that feeling of a Dots box really brings me back to like being like 7 years old.
The eating, like, so I always think of, there's like this bag of candy you get at like a store. They're called Child's Play, and they have like all the Tootsie Pops and the Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, yeah.
And in there are boxes of Dots, and I don't mind Dots either. But to the point that you bring up about getting stuck in your tooth, I could eat them on Halloween. If my teeth cleaning is in December, I always feel like no matter how hard I brush, they'll find a lemon dot somewhere like wedged in my molar, and they'll be like, this has been fermenting. You'll be like, what, dude? How has this been in there? I brushed every day.
Tough acting, long lasting. You know, it's the flavor that stays. That you get to enjoy your Dots for a little longer than some other candies.
I'm like how you like your gummies. I like more like gummies are just like the fruitier side of candies. Why I like Sweetest Fish, Snickers and Reese's are like my go-to chocolates. I'm a big fan, so I've really cut down on my candy, but I'm a big fan of lollipops, but that's just a niche for me. I'm going to take Skittles off the board as number 4.
Frick. Oh my God.
Yeah, an absolute. I feel like that was a steal at 4. Wow. And that's why I was really nervous. I'm gonna take Skittles off the board at 4.
You might just stole it. What's your regular, sour, or wild berry? Where are you?
Regular's always number 1. Very close behind is number 2, and then wild berry is still at 3. Like I got to be in a mood for wild berry. They're good. I got to be in a mood. Oh, this is totally off brand, so I wouldn't count this. Like original sour wild berry, I think are like the big 3 Skittles. Did you ever do the smoothie ones before? Do you ever? It was like a limited time release. Those were
like orange, right? It was like an orange bag.
Yes, orange or red. Yeah,
I might have. I know there's tropical and the light blue, which smacks too. I don't really know if I see those anymore, though. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's red, green, and purple. Purple's the wild berry. I don't see the blues that often, but yeah, the smoothie ones were orange, and they were gas, absolutely gas. But they don't make them anymore. They must have discontinued them. So, was there an? You said Mike and Ike's. Is there an honorable mention that you wanted to get off the list?
I'd say, yeah, Mike and Ike's honorable mention. I would say maybe I think I had one more. Starburst.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That's just I could have done like Skittles, Starburst, Sweetest Fish, but that's just too much of trying to balance it. Yeah. Too much to balance it out a little bit. My only honorable mention would just literally just be Tootsie Pops. Like
the chocolate or the colored ones, or like the fruity ones.
Chocolate. Well, actually, all of them. I can eat. Okay. I can eat.
I love I'm not a big. I'm a fruity guy. I like the fruit flavored stuff. What is your like absolute Halloween ruiner? Like you dig in your box, you pull us out. Like what are you most mad about?
Great question, Bill. I tell you right now, and I'm gonna get so much hate for it, and I don't give up. It is Almond Joys. Those are so gross, bro. If I don't get an Almond Joy. No, if you give me Almond Joy, I am coming to your house and I am egging the literal S out of it. I am going bananas on your house. I hate like Almond Joys. I'm just not a coconut guy. So that's my big thing. I'm not a coconut guy. So
you might not like mine because you're a Cadbury egg guy. I feel like they're kind of in the same realm. Whoppers. Absolutely hate Whoppers.
They don't listen. I don't think that's outlandish because I like Whoppers, but guess what? They don't do anything for you though. Like they're not a substantial candy. Like I would never put that. Like that's just like, and you know what it is, right? Like it's in that multi bag full of like Hershey's and Reese's, and they come in the packs of 3. You pop one, or you just like let it sit in your mouth for 5 seconds, and it's gone. It's an insubstantial candy.
Yeah, it's like they just throw it in there because like they're not going to sell them on their own. So like let's just throw them in here with the Snickers and the Milky Ways and the Twix because there's no way someone's just going to buy a bunch of Whoppers.
Yeah,
that's the only time you get Whoppers because of that. I hate Whoppers.
Well, you know what? I think that's a Hershey product, so I will make sure I tell my packaging engineer buddy that Whoppers
Yeah.
have got to go, and we've got to start getting a better recipe in there too. So, all right, going back over the list real quick. We'll post this up on social media. You guys go ahead and vote. We'll reveal the results the next podcast. So, Bill's Mount Rushmore, Sour Patch Kids, Cookies and Cream Hershey Bar, Twix, and Dots. Mine are Swedish Fish, Snickers, Reese's Pumpkins, and Skittles. That will be on our social medias. Go ahead and vote. Little friendly competition here to get you into your Victory Monday week, Halloween week. Are you dressing up? A little costume party at all, Bill? You and the wife?
I didn't have, I think she just got invited to a party on Friday. I haven't planned anything. I do have those big cups. Maybe I'll just go as some Labatt, like just have like a, have like a 30 rack in the freaking.
This guy knows who his sponsors are. This guy knows. I'll tell you what, this guy gets it. He understands. My default, I'm so bad with Halloween. I like it. I'm just so like every year, I think the last 2 years, I have a referee jersey from when I used to ref basketball. I just throw that on with my whistle, and it gives me a reason to wear like black sweatpants. And I just go around, like if we're at like a bar crawl or something like that, just blow the whistle on anybody, just get it being outlandish. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Technical foul, sir. You're spilling drinks all over yourself. You're done. Get out of here.
I've had some really good costumes in my day. Me and Phil and Bill went as White Men Can't Jump, and that was probably the best costume I've ever done. We crushed it.
That's sick. Hell yeah.
Me and Nicole have been Scoops Ahoy, Steve Harrington, and Uma Thurman's daughter from Stranger Things. That was really good. And then we did Almost Famous one year. She was Penny Lane, and I was Billy Crudrup's character. And then we did Ratatouille one year, where I was the chef, and I had the chef stuff on, and she was a little mouse, and I put her on my shoulders. So that was pretty fun.
That's adorable. That's good stuff there too. The one that I always go back to. I was Chip Skylark once from Fairly Odd Parents.
That's a good one.
I cried.
Did you sing?
Karaoke, yeah. But like I'm not good at it at all. But you got
to perform Shiny Teeth in Me.
I was working in Montana at the time that I did this. This was back in like 2019. And I actually asked the DJ at the bar I was at, and I was like, hey, and like, cause people are out, like, they're doing like a costume contest. And I was like, hey, can you just pop shiny? I didn't even want to sing. I was like, can you just pop Shiny Teeth in me on? And he goes, absolutely not. He knew who, like, he goes, absolutely. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you wanted to play the Monster Mash again for the 4th time tonight. You just couldn't put Shiny Teeth on, you jerk. But I did not sing. I might have just done it exclusively around like the people I was with that they wanted, but no, did not get to perform. But, yeah, but it was good. That was my best costume ever. I've been trying to do something better than that. So maybe I'll get some inspiration. We got a couple days to figure it out. So, all right, that's it. Bill, any parting words to give to the people before we send them on their way here?
It was a good week. You could tell that we're more like joyful right now than we've been in the couple, last 4 or 5 weeks. So this was fun. Yeah. Hopefully it keeps going. Maybe not. Maybe we do sacrifice next week. Maybe we shouldn't be so mad because, this is the way it's been. So we need to change. I don't know.
Right. Hey,
I don't want a loss, but if we do lose, maybe I'll spin zone it in my head to be like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
Oh, so, all of Bills Mafia is going to be doing the same thing if the Bills do lose to Kansas City. But we do know they do get it done in the regular season. So Bills and Chiefs kick off 4:25 on Sunday. That's Brother Bill. Follow him at the Brother Bill, but with 2 E's on the social media anywhere you go. Twitter, formerly X as we all call it, Instagram. I'm Dom Tibbetts over on Dom Tibbetts TV, X and Instagram. Follow us there. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, download to the podcast. We can't wait to come back to you next week. But for now, it's Brother Bill. I'm Dom. See ya.